The first ever image of the Backrooms was a photo taken during the renovation of a furniture shop. It was then uploaded to 4chan on a paranormal message board where someone said it looked like you would know clipped out of a game, someone like falling out of bounds, with someone else coining the term, the Backrooms. So like I said, the first image originated as a furniture shop under construction, but this started a trend with many other people posting photos of what they claimed was the Backrooms. It was more of a continuation of the Backrooms, extending on the photo we've already seen, or some people making their own different layers of it. And what all these images had in common was that they were all liminal spaces. Now, I am not some big Backrooms lore keeper, but I am a big fan of liminal spaces, with some of my favourite horror movies being all about them. For example, The Shining. Obviously the horror comes from Jack Torrance attempting to kill his wife and son with an axe, but something that's always frightened me was how empty the halls are. In a hotel environment that's usually full of people, seeing it completely abandoned adds a whole new layer of horror. Like, look how natural the ballroom looks with hundreds of people crammed into it compared to when it's just Jack. It'll send chills down your spine. It's probably why the hotel environment has always scared me the most out of any of the rooms in the original video. And I think that's where the horror of the Backroom starts. All the rooms and hallways feel like they should be full of people. It feels very much like a place you'd see people queuing up for an event or something, but it's empty. Have you ever walked around your school early in the morning before everyone turns up, or walked through a city on New Year's Day? It feels exactly like that. It doesn't feel right. And that feeling is horrifying. And then there's the video series, and that was the thing to take the Backrooms to a new level and make them way scarier. Of course, it was always meant to be scary, it's literally what I've been chatting about, but now they could actually add motion and we can explore the world a lot more, looking around corners and parts of the Backrooms we'd never seen before. Now, obviously the first thing you have to mention is the first person analog horror format most of the videos are presented in. With it being in the first person, it immediately makes it feel a lot more personal, as if you yourself are in the Backrooms. And with the shitty VHS quality the video has, not only can any imperfections in the blender animation be hidden, but it also helps feel very much like an old family video. But I think what truly made the room scary was how nonsensical and intertwining they all feel. All of the rooms just connect to each other in this weird way where they just shouldn't. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's something that's bound to send you crazy. Not to mention the awful piss-coloured walls that the Backrooms is coated in. This is what's always stuck with me the most. It's such a bland and ugly environment that feels both familiar and completely unique to anything you've ever seen before. And like I said, it just all feels very off. Especially since there'll be sometimes shit in there that for all the sense in the world, just shouldn't be there. I'm not even talking about the monsters, I'm talking about the stop signs, chairs, a fucking car. And what are the monsters gonna drive that shit? As well as the monsters that are in here. Because they're not your traditional movie monsters that are covered in slime or ugly fucking aliens. I don't even know how to describe them. They're like stringy, wired, black mold people that just doesn't make any sense. They look like an Ozempic venom. And they'll chase you around the Backrooms, forcing you to go deeper in it, and there is truly no escape. And it all adds to make you think you've slipped out of reality and been plopped in a world that shouldn't exist. Now, obviously a huge reason for why I'm making this video is because of the recent movie adaptation of the Backrooms, which I didn't expect it to, but it has added so much to the Backrooms. And I'm not even just talking about the lore, I'm talking more about the concept of what the Backrooms is. I thought the movie would just be the same as the videos, but this time on the big screen. But the movie wanted to illustrate more of a personal journey in the Backrooms. But I should first mention how better the movie makes the world feel. Obviously, now having a budget, Kane Parsons was able to create an actual set instead of just a blender animation, making it feel like a real world and something that's existed for a long time. And having better cameras with wider lenses and a third-person perspective, it makes the Backrooms feel even bigger than before. And I gotta say, this is some of the best set design I've seen in horror for a while, with every room and corridor feeling so similar, yet so unique at the same time. But what makes the Backrooms so scary in the movie? It's not the monsters, or the jump scares, or even the horrifying people in there, it's how the Backrooms can expose someone for who they really are. Throughout most of the film, we're led to believe that Clark is a sympathetic character. It leads you to a false sense of knowing by making him seem like an angry guy that's out of mental illness and is not his fault. He can't help but push people away, he's a self-destructive man who just wants love. or what he deems to be love. But after being in the backrooms for a few weeks, something snaps in his head. He's not empathetic or caring about the death of his co-workers or the horrible existence people in the backrooms have been subjected to. He only cares for himself. He is so exploitative when he finally snaps. He harms the people in the backrooms with no remorse, and if anything, he finds it amusing. And he's also trying to train one of them to do menial tasks for him, like turning off the lights. It's a disturbing change of tone for his character, and I think it all crescendos when Clark's Backrooms version walks in.
I'm gonna call him fucking Withered Clark.
So basically, the movie says that the Backrooms is created by what it remembers of a place or a certain person. The movie very clearly explains what the backroom is by this rule of thumb. The Backrooms is as if you described a dog to a person who's never seen one before and then asked them to draw it. They're going to miss the little minute details of it, but they'll get the core components. But as people say, the devil is in the details, and those little things, they really make something whole. So when you get those little things wrong, it's going to look really off. And that's what makes the Backrooms. So it's no wonder that Withered Clark is an aggressive monster who we only see killing or chasing people, and everyone is scared of him. Especially the withered woman in the Backrooms who he's trying to teach to turn off the lights for him. Which actually makes a lot of sense, because we kind of find out at the beginning of this movie, he's not the best husband. And the worst thing is, before Clark gets killed, he says how he doesn't even want to change. And if he does want to change, he doesn't want to do it for the better. He wants to remain in the Backrooms, stay in Dreamland, where he's in control of everyone and everything. And this is what I mean when I say the Backroom can expose someone for who they really are. He likes to have everything in his power, and he is the one with his finger on the trigger. It reveals people's core components and how the world perceives them. Clark has all these little details like a mask he can put on that he can pretend to be. And that is the true horror of the Backrooms. In the real world, anyone can hide out and pretend to be a good person, but in the Backrooms, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't add all the little details of your fake mask of pretending to be a person or hiding behind an avatar. It simply represents who you are, through and through. The Backroom shows what people's darkest desires truly are. And I think that is the scariest thing about the Backrooms, because we all know there's more evil presence in the Backrooms than good ones.